On May 29, 1453, history was irrevocably altered when Constantinople, the capital of the Byzantine Empire, fell to the Ottoman Turks. This event marked the end of Byzantium and concluded its 1,000-year legacy. Today we explore how this happened and whether history could have taken a different path. Welcome to What If Byzantium Had Survived. The conquest of Constantinople was not entirely unexpected. By then, the once mighty Byzantine Empire had been reduced to the area around its legendary capital and some remote lands in present-day Greece. Capturing Constantinople was still challenging due to its formidable walls, towers, and moats. However, the Ottomans gathered over 100,000 warriors, built massive bombards capable of firing boulders, and blockaded the city from the sea. The decline of Byzantium began as early as the 11th century, surrounded by rising powers. Byzantium faced constant pressure. From the east, the Seljuks built a powerful state next door. From the west, the Italian trading republics of Genoa and Venice threatened its stability. Constantinople's strategic location on a crucial trade route made it a golden bridge between the east and the west, attracting the Italian trade republics that sought control over this medieval metropolis. Byzantium alternatively supported Venice and Genoa, but neglected its own merchants, losing control over its trade and benefiting the Italian republics instead. Emperor Manuel, from 1143 to 1180, of the Komnenos dynasty attempted to reverse this trend. In 1171, he arrested all Venetians in Byzantium and confiscated their property, forcing Venice to submit. However, this triumph was short-lived. In 1198, the Pope declared the Fourth Crusade to Jerusalem. Venice agreed to transport the Crusaders, but decided to stop in Constantinople. In 1204, Crusaders, driven by greed, captured the city and devastated it. They did not continue to the Holy Land, but instead occupied most of Byzantine territories, founding the Latin Empire. Byzantium was reduced to a few fragments in Asia. By 1261, one fragment, Nicaea, managed to recapture the lost lands and revive Byzantium, but it was now weak. Over time, the Byzantine Empire fell prey to the Ottoman Turks, who firmly established themselves on its land. The fall of Constantinople in 1453 was the culmination of this long decline. Even if the Turks had not taken it then, they would have likely returned. But what if Byzantium had avoided defeat in 1204? There were some chances for a different outcome. In 1028, another dynasty ended in Byzantium, leading to periods of defeat, rebellions, and devastations. This continued until Alexios Komnenos seized the throne, founded a new dynasty, and initiated reforms that revived Byzantium. The treasury soon began to fill with gold, and the army and navy started winning victories. However, the Komnenos dynasty's power depended on the support of the large local nobility, who had their own interests. They invited foreign merchants to sell their estate harvests and buy luxury goods, granting these merchants concessions and privileges. This led to Italian dominance in the Byzantine economy and a decline in its own production, contributing to the empire's eventual collapse. To survive, Byzantium needed to protect its own producers and merchants, strengthening its economy and becoming a competitor to the Italian trading republics. This required pushing the large feudal lords from power, leading to internal conflicts. But if the commercial elite could form a strong political bloc and take power, it would breathe new life into the empire. Byzantium also needed deep military reforms. By the 11th to 12th centuries, it lacked effective troops, relying on mercenaries like the Normans, Russians, Pechenegs, and even Englishmen. This system had drawbacks. In critical moments, Byzantium had no one to defend it. If the empire had created a capable army, Byzantium could have regained its former might. Imagine a different Byzantine history. Trade and craft corporations held power, and the state's development focused on protecting its commercial interests. The geographical position of Byzantium provided a great advantage, controlling navigation through the Black Sea Straits and acting as an intermediary between Eastern and Western traders. Using this, Byzantium could have driven Italian merchants out of the local markets, reviving its fleet to protect its trade interests. Trade development would boost production, strengthening the economy and filling the treasury. This would enable military reforms, creating a numerous and capable army. Byzantium could have resisted the Seljuk hordes, prevented the loss of Asia Minor and the rise of the Ottoman Turks. Strengthening Byzantium would likely have provoked Venice and Genoa to move against it, but with a strong army and fleet, they could respond effectively. Venice, after a naval defeat and isolation, would seek peace, becoming a conduit for Byzantine interests in Italy, and Genoa would be ousted from the Mediterranean trade. Thus, Byzantium could continue as a powerful empire, surviving past 1453 without it being a significant date in history upon its fall. They could have greatly influenced European culture. In the 15th century, the Renaissance flourished throughout Europe, with antiquity as its ideal. Meanwhile, the real Rome continued to exist in the East. Byzantium, with its cultural heritage, would have influenced European culture more profoundly. Greek language, philosophy, and literature would flow throughout Europe. Monks and scholars would preserve Greek and Roman heritage, which now has been lost to us forever. In the 16th century, the Ottoman Empire threatened Europe. If Byzantium still existed, it might not have only survived but also revived that dream of Alexander the Great. They would have had a great past and a great future. Unfortunately, it just became an intermediate link between antiquity and modernity, rather than showing us the modern day of what would have happened if Byzantium never fell.